Hi, let us understand about volumes. Before getting into the details about volumes, let us understand how the containers will get created and where the files that we are writing or copying into the container will get stored. Whenever a container is getting created from an image going to have two type of layers. One is immutable layer, another one is writable layer. The writable layer where the files that we are writing will get added or get updated, and that will get stored as a folder within the host file system. Let's go ahead and create a container. I'm going to create a container with the name Nginx-vol. So what will happen once the container is created? If I am doing an inspect against this specific container, it's going to mark where this particular container is storing the logs and other configuration details. Docker container inspect and then the container name Nginx-volume. Here we will have lots of information. Along with that, we are going to have the information in terms of the working directory and where the configuration details are available. Let me get into this specific directory where lib docker. I have opened another terminal so that I can get into that specific directory cd/var/lib. And the docker directory will be having permission only for the root. So I have to make myself as a root, sudo su, that will change myself as a root and get into the docker. So the image details will be available within the image, containers will be available within the containers. If I get into the containers, I can see the list of containers available with their container ID. The same way I can get into the overlay, and here I do have the various IDs in terms of what are all the things that are writable. So I can get into any specific directory, and here I am going to have all the work that I am doing or the files that I am adding into that specific container. We are not going to work directly into this. I am just showing where the files that we are changing will get stored within the container folder. The same way I do have a folder for the volume. So I do have a folder for the volume where the volumes will get stored. Now I do have a container, and that is storing the data that I am writing into the container into a specific folder within the Docker managed folders. Now if I remove the container, that folder will also get removed and the data within that specific folder will also get deleted, and I am going to lose the data. Assume I am going to have a small file within the container, and if I delete the container, this particular data will also get removed. Let me go ahead and delete the container, docker container rm. So what will happen? The ID corresponding to this specific container and the corresponding folders will get deleted from the Docker folder. It will get deleted. So we are going to lose the data. That's where the purpose of volume comes into picture. Volume is nothing but I'm going to create a virtual volume. I'll get that attached to a container. So I'm going to create a volume, and the volume will get mapped to a folder within the host system, or I can map it to other NFS, and there are n number of other options available. For the simplicity purpose, we are going to map it to the local file system using the local driver. And once the volume is created, while starting the container, I can attach that specific volume to that specific container. And whenever I am removing the container, the volume will not get deleted, and so I am not going to lose the data. At the same time, I can have the volumes not attached to the containers, and I can manage the volumes created using the Docker command. Let's go ahead and see how to manage the volumes within the Docker. The command that we are going to use to manage the volume is docker volume. So I can create volumes, I can check the details about the volumes, list the volumes and remove all unused volumes as well as, or I can remove a specific volume as well. Let me go ahead and create a sample volume, docker volume create. The same way, let me go ahead and create one more volume. Now I can list what are all the volumes available. Docker volume ls. So I do have two volumes with this specific name. In case if I doesn't give any name, it will generate a random number and it will get created. So this is the name of the volume. So I do have 3 volumes, and it's going to use the local driver by default. There are n number of other drivers available so that I can create the volume against any cloud environment like DigitalOcean or Google Compute Cloud. That's going to be the advanced discussion for the volume. Considering the scope of this particular discussion, we can go ahead and use the local driver so that I can satisfy all the requirements. Now, if I get into the folder location within the Docker folder, I do have the volumes folder. Within that, I am going to have all the volumes that we created. Basically, what happens once the volume is created, it's going to map it against a folder within the host system under the volumes. Now, any volume, if I don't want, I can go ahead and remove them. Docker volume ls. Assume I wanted to remove this specific volume. I can say Docker volume rm and then the name of this specific volume. And I can list the volumes using the filter option as well, in the sense meeting a specific condition. Let me say I want to list all the dangling volumes. Docker volume list with the filter dangling equal to true. So these are all the dangling volumes. So what happens whenever I say prune, it will get deleted. Docker volume prune. So it's going to ask for the confirmation and all the dangling volumes will get deleted. So we have seen how to create a volume, how to manage the volumes. As a part of the next session, we are going to see how to create a volume and mount it as a part of a container which we are going to start. So in a quick summary, we have seen how to create a volume and how to manage the volumes in terms of removing them, listing them, filtering based on a specific condition, and removing all the dangling volumes using the prune option.